The BMA says that you changed the terms of the deal at the last minute. Why did you do that?
We did not. And
so they're lying.
And I've written to the BMA today to set out and remind them the heads of term document we sent them about the deal. I'm just going to read you the quote, if I may, Mr. Streeting, from Jack Fletcher, chairman of the BMA's Committee for Junior Doctors. Told the Times yesterday things were moving in the right direction since January. Then all of a sudden, the rug was pulled out from under us and here we go again. Are you saying he's lying? Why would that be in my interest or the government's interest? We've acted in good faith throughout. Resident doctors had a 28.9% pay rise within the first weeks of this Labour government.
And you thought it was all sorted?
There's a deal on the table that would give them an average 4.9% more for this year, 7.1% for some of the lowest paid doctors.
The question today is, did you change the amount you were offering?
No, categorically, no, we did not.
You did not?
No. And there are only two plausible explanations for what the BMA is saying. Either they didn't read the detail, which I don't believe because they're details people we've been negotiating with, or faced with that enormous committee, many of whom are quite hardline in their views, it was more convenient to blame the government than to accept responsibility for the deal that those officers committed to recommend to their committee. And that's why I've said in my letter to the BMA's Resident Doctors Committee today, I don't just want to see the officers, although I will, I want to see the whole committee, because those are the people that rejected the deal on the table, and those are the people who, for the last 2 years, have point-blank refused to meet. They are, so far, the only people who've ever refused to meet me as Health Secretary in the last 2 years.
All right, well,
and given that they are the people calling the shots, I think it's time for me to speak to the organ grinders.
OK. So that's what you're going to do. You're going to speak to the people you describe as the organ grinders.
Yes, they've said no so far. But
right. So if they continue saying no, how are you going to resolve it? What are you going to do?
And Victoria, honestly, we can't go further. I mean, so you're
going to do nothing?
This is why I'm really glad, we're having this conversation in the context of the earlier part of the discussion. There are so many pressures on this country at the moment. And in terms of the NHS, doctors are important, and I've got enormous sympathy for what resident doctors went through under the Tories. They're not the only staff.
Of course.
Got responsibility for 1.5 million staff in the NHS.
You've done all you can.
And patients.
There's nothing else.
We've gone as far as we can. I'm never going to shut the door to the BMA. I'm not pretending I've solved all of their problems in less than 2 years. The BMA need to stop pretending that I can. There has to be some give and take. And whether it's the NHS and the BMA, whether it's other trade unions in other public services, whether it's the country as a whole, we can see the challenges facing this country. We can see the enormous hole we were left in. The only way we get through it to the brighter future we all want to see for this country is if we pull together as a country. The BMA resident doctors have done well out of this government. It's time for them to recognise that. There's a deal on the table. Take yes for an answer on pay and jobs. Help us move forward in doctors' interests, the NHS's interests and the country's interests.